the big question police are asking tonight is still simply how 49-year-old Konstantinos Philippidis wound up missing here at Whiteface Mountain and turned up alive nearly 3,000 miles away 6 days later in Sacramento, California. Now, the Sacramento County Sheriff's Department says Philippidis was found alone yesterday afternoon near the rental car terminal at the Sacramento airport. This, police say, after he called his wife, who told him to call 911. He told police he did not know what day it was and appeared to be confused. He says he caught a ride to Sacramento from Wilmington, New York on a big rig, and today at a news conference, New York State Police say they have not spoken with that truck driver, but they've spoken with Philippidis' family, who say Philippidis was overwhelmed when he found out the amount of searching that was going on for him at Whiteface Mountain. Police searching for him for nearly 6 days after friends reported him missing a week ago today when he did not return from a ride down the slopes.
At this point, we want to assist Danny in getting back the last 6 days of his life, and we ask that no one jump to any conclusions. The circumstances surrounding this case are still under investigation, and we are still trying to piece together the last 6 days. We are so pleased that he has been found and he will be reunited with his family and friends.
Officials say there were more than 100 people out searching for Philippidis each day while he was missing. They won't put a dollar figure on how much the search has cost the state of New York, but police say so far they aren't aware that Philippidis has broken any laws, so they're not anticipating charging him at this point. But of course, that's all dependent on what's uncovered during their investigation. Now, New York State Police say Philippidis is on his way back to the Adirondacks for questioning. He's expected to arrive sometime tonight. That's the latest here in Wilmington. I'm Liz Streppa, NBC 5 News.
A disturbing video released of the Parkland shooting suspect, Nicholas Cruz. It contains hours of footage of the 19-year-old, currently on trial for the murder of 17 students last February. Phil Keating picks up the story live in Miami. The suspect eventually had to be handcuffed to protect himself.
Yeah, Bill, that's because every time the detective stepped out of the room, Nicholas Cruz would begin hurting himself. Just minutes after being brought from the hospital to the Sheriff's Department interrogation room, well, that's when Cruz begins punching himself over and over and over again. And once the questioning started, it did not take long for him to tell the detective that he's long had a voice in his head, his demon.
Why did you stop it then?
I don't like the demon. I don't like the demon. I don't like the demon. I don't like the demon.
Well, that's if the demon even exists.
Can I get an attorney or something?
Later during the 12-hour interview, the detective steps out of the room and Cruz starts biting his forearm repeatedly, trying to make himself bleed. When left alone, the gravity of the situation also seems apparent.
Kill me.
Large portions of this 12-hour interview do remain secret still. Per the judge, it's redacted to ensure Cruz can still get a fair trial. That's the portion where Cruz allegedly gives a step-by-step account of how he carried out the worst high school massacre in U.S. history, shooting several young students repeatedly as they lie bleeding in the classrooms and hallways. Around midnight, Cruz's 18-year-old brother Zachary is let in, and that's when Cruz breaks down, crying and sobbing. Cruz also reveals how lonely he was, depressed over his mother's death, and that he had attempted suicide twice. Cruz also surprised the detective by saying just a week before the Valentine's Day shooting, he had planned to go to a park and start shooting up people there, but for whatever reason, he backed out of that plan. Cruz remains in jail, facing charges and, of course, awaiting trial. His defense attorneys have offered to plead guilty to everything to avoid the death penalty. That's something prosecutors still refuse to accept.
The nationwide flu outbreak is showing no sign of easing up. So far this season, more than 14,000 people across the country went to the hospital for flu-related symptoms, and at least 53 children have died, including 3 from Ohio. We're now at week 10. Flu seasons typically range from 11 to 20 weeks. This year's epidemic could last until May. And there are now growing concerns about a medicine widely used to treat the flu.
Right. Parents all across the country are reporting their children started hallucinating after taking Tamiflu. One family's even blaming their son's suicide on the medication. But is this cause for panic?
Tamiflu, like any medication, has potential side effects.
Among them, neuropsychiatric side effects.
It's not always actually clear whether it's the medication itself or the virus, because influenza can cause something called encephalitis, which is inflammation of the brain, which can lead to some of the same symptoms, you know, hallucinations, confusion, altered mental status, that sort of thing.
A family in Indiana says their daughter was hearing voices and saw bugs on her body after starting Tamiflu. In Texas, a couple says their 6-year-old daughter tried to jump out her bedroom window while on Tamiflu.
She was about to jump out the window when my wife came up and grabbed her.
And less than 24 hours after starting Tamiflu,
had I known that this was an issue, I would have never given it to him.
This Indiana teen committed suicide. His parents are adamant the medication is to blame.
We are seeing the side effect more this year than we've seen it in previous years, but that's just because the total number of kids taking the medication has gone up, not because there's something wrong with the medicine itself.
Dr. Amy Edwards with University Hospitals Rainbow Babies and Children's Hospital says such dramatic side effects are extremely rare.
For the parents who are insisting that their kid get Tamiflu because of how scared they are about the pediatric deaths we've had, if your kid is not high risk, then you do need to think about the fact that this drug does come with side effects.
But if your child is high risk, meaning under the age of 2, or has health issues like diabetes or asthma, Tamiflu might be their best option. And if you notice anything alarming, see your doctor right away.
Again, psychiatric side effects are a known side effect of Tamiflu, but they're extremely rare. Dr. Edwards says it happens in less than 1% of pediatric patients. Evidence also shows that Tamiflu is only really helpful if you've been sick for less than 48 hours.
Only on CBS 2, elementary school shocker. An employee takes off his clothes on a playground packed with kids. The video and the story are CBS 2 exclusives. You won't see them anywhere else.
And our Adriana Weingold is live at Carthay Center Elementary with more on just what happened and what the LAUSD is saying about it. Adriana.
Well, a very upsetting situation for both parents and students here at Carthay Center Elementary School. Parents say that there were 2nd graders and 5th graders on the playground when a PE teacher took off his clothes and started chasing after the kids. Parents at Carthay Center Elementary School are outraged and concerned after learning a man teaching a PE class stripped naked on campus Friday. Mark Dickerson says his 7-year-old daughter was on the playground for PE when the teacher took off his clothes.
He was supposed to be helping them learn, PE, run around and have fun, but he undressed and started chasing the kids while he was naked. And then the kids ducked and dodged and ran into some of the classrooms and, got safe haven that way.
A construction worker passing by took this video that captures part of the incident. You can see the man naked on the playground. He then puts his pants on as sirens scream in the background. Parents say they were notified of the incident Friday via robocall. A letter also went home with the kids. It reads in part, an individual began behaving in an unusual way, prompting us to contact law enforcement. As a safety precaution, our school went on a brief lockdown while officers responded and took the individual into custody. This parent says his 2nd grader was on the playground when the incident happened. He didn't want to show us his face on camera.
The guy could have hurt one of the children, whoever this man was, rolling around naked on the floor. And plus all the kids seen his private parts. Very embarrassing, very upset.
LAUSD officials say they can't comment on the incident because all personnel matters are confidential. School police tell us the man worked for the STAR program, an after-school enrichment program. They say mental health counselors were made available to the children today. Dickerson says his daughter is traumatized and the school isn't doing enough to help.
We want answers. They're not giving us answers. So we lose the trust in the school. We lose the trust in the school district. What are we supposed to do?
School police say they are continuing to investigate this individual and they are working on a case against him, including indecent exposure and battery. The battery is against an adult and not a child. Back to you.
Amazon acknowledging a malfunction that's causing Alexa devices to just start laughing without prompting. That's tonightsdaily.com. It's quiet in the house. No one else is home and the cat is fast asleep. Then you hear a disembodied woman's voice let out a short, mocking cackle. No, you're not being haunted. It's just Amazon's Alexa voice assistant malfunctioning in a profoundly creepy way. Don't worry, Echo owners. Amazon says Alexa hasn't become self-aware, and while it's not what you'd expect, some Alexa users are reporting their devices are randomly laughing over the last day. The unprompted laughter consists of 3 short ha sounds and a woman's voice that doesn't resemble Alexa's normal voice, and it seems to be happening when no one is using the device or in response to requests to turn the lights on or off. Amazon says it's aware of the issue. It's working to fix it. The company did not say what's causing the problem or how many users are experiencing it. Alexa's laugh isn't the only thing that's creeping users out, though. Others have claimed Alexa has stopped responding to requests. One Twitter user said their Amazon Echo suddenly started listing names of local funeral homes and cemeteries, also unprompted. And while voice assistants like Alexa have been welcomed into many homes as fun, family-friendly technology, while others are still a bit unsettled by them. The speakers use always listening microphones to detect phrases like Alexa, and some people are concerned that they could be collecting additional data that could be used by marketers or even law enforcement. And for them, that is no laughing matter. All right, it seems Amazon finally getting to the bottom of all of this. It turns out in rare circumstances, Alexa can mistakenly hear the phrase Alexa laugh when that's not what was said. The voice assistant then interprets that phrase, though, as a command and laughs. Imaginations are running wild with this one on Twitter. Sergi tweets, Amazon Alexa laughs spontaneously, refuses to turn off the lights, and creeps people out. Oh, I've seen so many sci-fi movies that start exactly like that.
Forget the idea of seeing is believing. New technology is making digital media manipulation easier than ever.
The result, phony videos that are popping up online. CBS 2's Natalie Dudridge has the story.
You may have seen this video circulating the internet, ostensibly of former President Obama delivering a speech that he never actually made. It's part of an online video trend called Deepfake, and it's hard to tell what's real and what's not.
It's very concerning because as people get better with this software, they will be able to not just put celebrities, they will be able to put like their neighbor, you know, in a video and compromising that person.
Pereira is the vice president of a cybersecurity firm. He says in recent months, the videos started appearing on an online forum called Reddit, created by a program called Fake App. It superimposes videos like this of actor Nicolas Cage's face on another character's body.
And they break your face down into smaller and smaller pieces and then overlay the picture you want, like a Nicolas Cage's photograph, on top of that.
Until recently, the artificial intelligence video technology was only used by major Hollywood productions. But social media apps like Snapchat have made this face morphing technology all too easy. Tech experts are worried it could have serious moral implications, like framing people for crimes, or most recently putting celebrities' faces on X-rated actors.
If they're putting it on like porn stars or something, you know, like that could be detrimental to some people's careers.
In general with technology, it just kind of like freaks me out.
Reddit took steps to ban a number of deepfake groups that had tens of thousands of members. But tech experts say people are still accessing the tool on the dark web, and everyone should be wary of the digital media manipulation. Natalie Dudridge, CBS 2 News.
Many of these deepfake videos are also being banned by other social media sites, including Twitter. Can't even tell what is what.
Scary stuff.
Right? All right.
Hi, I'm Fox San Antonio's Jessica Headley.
And I'm Ryan Wolf.
Our greatest responsibility is to serve our
Treasure Valley communities,
the El Paso, Las Cruces communities, Eastern Iowa communities,
Mid-Michigan communities.
We are extremely proud of the quality, balanced journalism that CBS 4 News produces.
But we are concerned about the trouble in trying to get irresponsible, one-sided news stories plaguing our country.
The sharing of biased and false news has become all too common on social media. More alarming, some media outlets publish these same fake stories without checking facts first.
The sharing of biased and
false news has become all too common on social media.
More alarming, some media outlets publish these stories simply aren't true without checking facts first.
Unfortunately, some members of the media use their platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly what people think. And this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
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 Are we a normal family? We have 2 kids, order Domino's for dinner sometimes.
All right, I'm ready to go.
In many ways, we fit the kind of normal stereotype. Our kids, Caden and Zyler, are 3.5 years old, and we're raising them using they, them, their gender-neutral pronouns so that they can decide for themselves when, if, and how they want to identify as a gender.
So I think that knowing the sex or the gender of your child is important to other people, partially just because it's part of the social script. They don't notice that they're any different from any other children because they have no idea that some children are she and some children are he.
All right.
To them, they're all children, so like they don't notice any difference, and the other kids that they're with don't notice any difference.
Good job, guys. Have a good summer.
A lot of young girls are, when they grow up, they're told, you know, don't get dirty, don't do that, that's not safe, be careful, those kinds of things, and then they grow up to think that they're not capable of doing all these things, and then the young boys are told, oh, don't cry, you're okay, be strong, and then they aren't comfortable having emotions, which can cause a lot of problems when they're older. Gender is not something that we have discussed with either of them at all, really.
We're as nervous about that as most parents are about like how our baby's made.
They haven't really asked about it, so we're waiting until that question comes up. I think we're just kind of gonna wing it a little bit when we get there, but you know, telling them that gender is something that's fluid, and a lot of people have penises, identify as being boys, but that's not something that is necessary if you feel like you're a girl, and vice versa.
There is research that shows when you use gender binaries in our language, so when we say good morning boys and girls, or when we just say to our kids, come on girls, or what a smart boy you are, using gender to sort and categorize and label kids, we do know that that increases gender stereotypes.
Do you want the hair clip in your hair? Yeah. Do you need help, or are you gonna do it yourself? You did it! As a result of raising our kids as babies, I'm hoping that they'll grow up and be supportive of other people and who they are and how they feel, and really confident and happy in who they are themselves.
Hey, NBC News viewers, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here, and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives.
Thanks for watching.
In some of China's largest cities, a high-tech effort is underway to bust low-level offenders, jaywalkers.
Cameras record them going through intersections, zero in on their face, and then publicly shame them on nearby video screens.
It's all part of the Chinese government's new social credit system, where people's daily behavior is monitored and rated. I think it's a good thing, this woman said. It makes people more honest. But this social credit rating goes far beyond a traditional credit score, which is based on your finances. China's version factors in everything from jaywalking to smoking on trains to buying too many video games. If your score gets too low, you can be banned from buying plane tickets, renting a house, or getting a loan. Nearly 15 million people have already been prevented from traveling. Journalist Leo Hu is one of them. He recently tried to book a flight but was told he couldn't because he was on the list of untrustworthy people. I can't buy property. My child can't go to private school, he says. You feel like you're being controlled by the list all the time.
It can recognize more than 4,000 vehicles.
Chinese technology firms such as SenseTime are helping the government effort by developing advanced cameras that use artificial intelligence to track just about everything.
This knows every person, every bike, every car, every bus that goes through the frame.
You can tell whether it is an adult, a child, a male or female.
Police in Beijing have been wearing these glasses that can recognize faces linked to the government's national database to help boost arrests.
How advanced is this technology?
This is cutting edge.
Wu Fei is CEO of a company that makes the glasses. He claims he doesn't know how the government intends to use his technology.
I have no idea.
Really?
Yes.
Do you trust the government the way they're using your technology?
Sorry, I can't answer this.
You can't answer that.
This is outside our scope of questions.
The fear, of course, is that the government may use this social credit scoring system to punish people that it deems not sufficiently loyal to the Communist Party. And trying to clear your name or fight your score is nearly impossible because there is no real due process. Jeff?
Everybody, thousands of people in Sweden have opted to trade in their ID and their credit cards for tiny microchips that would be implanted like underneath their skin.
Yeah, these chips are supposed to take the place of key cards, rail cards, credit cards.
Yeah, the chips are typically the size of a grain of rice, and they're implanted just under the skin between the thumb and the forefinger.
So many people in Sweden are lining up to get these microchips that the country's main chipping company says that it can't even keep up with the number of requests.
Really?
What in
no way I would do that.
What in the Illuminati, mark of the beast, witchcraft is going on over there in Sweden? Haven't they heard of like a wristband? You know, like everybody wears a Fitbit or an Apple Watch. You know?
I mean, I'm sure it must have been well tested for safety, but I'm just not even feeling comfortable.
No.
But although there's microchips in pets, so I mean, it's not unheard of, you know.
Yeah.
But
I have a close friend who's actually a TV meteorologist in Sweden. I actually need to give her a call
you need
about
to
that.
talk to
I want
her.
to find out if that really is.
Yeah, why don't you do a little Skype? I want to learn more.
We know you wouldn't do it, but would you do it?
I don't know if I would. Right now, I would say no.
First of all, I don't like needles. I don't like
needles. Don't bother me. It's just I don't know that I want that.
I think I'd be weirded out just seeing something poking
the size of a grain
like
of, and then what about infection and?
I don't know.
Too many questions.
If it came to the U.S., clearly you can see who would not be doing it.